I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on January the 11th, 2021. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mr. Gishard?
Present.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Vitale?
Here.
Mayor Kane?
Here. All right, next, I would ask that as we observe our moment of silence for private reflection, I'd ask that you keep George Fye. We lost a good one this week. I'd ask that you keep George Fye in your hearts and prayers. You all know that George was a member of our dam committee, certainly had a very big interest in the way township planning and zoning worked, and he was an integral part of jump-starting the rebirth in our industrial park. So I just ask that you keep George, the Fye family, and the Morris family in your hearts and prayers. Thank you. All right. Next, we'll move on to guest presentations. We have Rick Dovey here from the ACUA to do a budget presentation for us. Rick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the committee and the public. My name is Rick Dovey. I'm the president of the ACUA. I'm here for our annual meeting to go over our proposed rates and budget coming here. But before I get started, I want to first of all apologize to the Hamilton body and also to the president of Hamilton Township for the poor and inconsistent service that we've received with yard waste over the last month or so. We're going through an unprecedented staff shortage, not only in collections but throughout the authority. So we prioritize trash collection every day for all the counties. Township, our drivers are sent there. Next, second important is residential recycling. Third is commercial recycling. And last, because of the for health hazard, is yard waste. We basically are starting the day for the last month or so with 25% of our staff missing, 25% of our drivers missing. So that's why we have to prioritize. So yard waste has been last. And so we're well aware of many missed stops and missed collections and what we can do and other staff all along the way to keep them informed of that. But that doesn't make people happy. But that is our circumstances. Since I started at the ACUA, we've never had trouble hiring people. About 10 months ago, it started being near impossible. The particular pain point is commercial driver license to buy a track truck that has a CDL. There's a nationwide shortage in all businesses and industries of CDL drivers. But it's particularly bad in the recycling business, collection business, and bad both in the public sector and the private sector. We just can't attract new drivers, and we've lost drivers. So we've had over almost 15 hiring events in the last year. We even had a hiring event at a place in Boston. We're hiring people that we never would have hired before because we have to have lives. CDL drivers are the real pain point, and I don't know when this is going to get better, except that I know the leaves do stop falling now. And dissipate
They have.
weeks. We're committed to going back to every street and home and eventually picking it efficiently as we can. We caught up a lot this past weekend. People are working long hours. In the darkest time of year, through the daylight hours, they start to dark. It's not safe to have people collecting waste at night time. So we're hopeful that everything will be cleaned up. And this is not a standard that we are proud of, and we're hopefully be able to turn it around in the next few weeks. So we appreciate your cooperation along the way.
Excuse me.
And we are having some continuing hiring event on Wednesday at 10 o'clock in recycling center. Anybody wants to be as a CL, is working at the HUA, or a laborer working at the HUA. All right, I'll get to the point of our business tonight. Before you have the annual report card, we're having the Township, the top third is the projected total city fees which we're going to fill today. And to the HUA for disposal of the waste collected on behalf of the Township, about $750,000. That's almost the same as it was last year. Your tonnage is regular municipal waste is up, but your other waste, your special waste, your public works department, generate various things they do down. So basically, your prices, even though we had a small increase last year, your dollars in cutting your down the same as they were last year. Recycling is down about 200 tons. The past year, yard waste is also down. Hopefully, it's not up yet. It's not yet, but it will get picked up by the end of the year. Comparison to track. Not significantly, but we're moving. The middle section of the chart shows our tip fees. The municipal rate, which Hamilton Township pays, is currently this year $65.50. It's going up to $68.78 next year, which is proposed. Our board will be considering that at their December meeting. So there's a projection that your cost for waste management next year will be just slightly more than it is this year, if your tonnage is similar. The bottom chart shows your total tonnage of trash. It's not up, it's been flat. So if you have any questions?
Any questions? Comments?
Thank you very much.
All right, Rick, thank you very much.
All right.
All right, next, we'll move on to addition and deletion of related agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We have deleted one presentation, and we are deleting 7I on the consent agenda. Good.
Okay, so
Motion?
so moved. Second.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have early public comment on agenda items. Peter, we have anybody signed up?
No, Mayor.
Hearing none. We'll move on to item number 3. Discussion, formal action may be taken. Salary of Deputy Chief Financial Officer.
I'm making a request to Township Committee that the maximum salary for the Deputy Chief Financial Officer be raised from $80,000 to $90,000. It's been at $80,000 since 2015. If we did do increases, it would be up to $92,000. One of the reasons for the request are we recently advertised for positions, and people who want to work for less than $80,000 to be our deputy does not have their certificate yet. There's about 8 courses that have to be taken, plus exam pass, that we would be spending probably about $10,000 to invest in them with no guarantee that they would be successful in passing the test. That's the current circumstance that we have in the office right now. The person that we invested in was unable to pass the exam. If we're able to hire somebody in that $80,000 to $90,000 range, that already has their CFO, that would free up our current CFO to do more work, more sophisticated, detailed work, and not worry about training somebody, bringing somebody along. So I did take the luxury or freedom to prepare a item to increase it for the agenda for an ordinance to be introduced, because it would have to be introduced and adopted in the same year, so we would be able to carry it over. I'm not seeking authorization to spend the 90 now. I'm just seeking the latitude to have the extra $10,000 in our recruitment process at this time.
And does this apply to the current person that we have as Deputy Chief Financial?
No, the deputy position is vacant. That individuals are removed from the position when she was unable to successfully pass the examination to become a CFO. Is her position going to be vacated now? Shortly. Yeah. When she was demoted, the understanding she had with my predecessor was that she would be resigning/retiring in the very near future, which could be 3 or 4 months from now. So then we will retain her until we get someone else? There would be a short overlap period between the person that was demoted and the person coming in. It depends upon when the selection is made, when the starting date would be for that person. Okay. Have you looked into the availability of the people with the CFO, Chief Financial? Is there a lot of availability out there? There's a lot of individuals who are interested in being a deputy that have not yet completed the coursework yet. Our preference was to be able to hire somebody who already has that certification. They bring more value to us. We don't really want to repeat the process of giving somebody the opportunity to earn those courses and possibly pass the exam on our dollars. As I said, it costs close to $10,000 to person complete all the classes, and there's no guarantee that they would pass the exam. And to invest a year and a half into somebody and maybe have to start the process over again. My discussions with the CFO is that we're trying to expand our search for additional candidates. Having the flexibility to exceed $80,000 may improve the field of candidates. Okay. All right. So the search is on, in other words. The search has not been closed. Okay. All right. The reason why I'm bringing it now is that during the initial search we found out that most of the people in that $70,000 range up to the $80,000 do not have the certification that would have to go through the process. And your procedure here, if an employee wants to take those classes, the township pays the freight for them and accommodates their schedule for them to do that. So my discussion with Ms. Lindsay is that we may be better served spending that $10,000 on salary to bring somebody who brings those things, eliminates the learning curve, and the person hits the ground running, which is far more beneficial to the township than hoping that we pick the right person that can successfully complete all the classes and examination. Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
Any other questions or comments?
Question, what does it look like out there? What are the chances of finding typical?
I'm extremely optimistic. I think with the extra money, the ability to attract candidates will be more forthcoming than it was from what we got the first time, the first batch.
Any other questions or comments?
The courses that are given, are they given through the state of New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay. And it is called a CFO. Are there many courses that go along with?
There's 8 classes that you have to successfully complete before you can sit for the exam.
Okay.
Just as a sidebar, our CFO has been an instructor in a couple of those classes during her career. So we do have an insight as to what's in the pipeline sometimes.
Okay, that's good.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, committee, what's your pleasure? If you'd like to move forward, I just would need a motion as such.
Yeah, I move to move forward.
Second.
Efforts to select a assistant CFO.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Rita, can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor King.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to 4, public hearing, adoption of ordinances. This goes hand in hand. This is ordinance 1975-2021. Forgive me, this one is not. An ordinance to amend Chapter 94 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton entitled Veterans Advisory Board, Section 94-2 entitled Meetings and Members.
Township Committee, this is the ordinance which adds 2 additional alternate members to the board. The Veterans Advisory Board has been having difficulty getting quorum, so you're adding 2 additional alternates.
You're comfortable with that, Rodney?
Yes.
Committee, questions, comments?
So moved.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Rita, can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek.
Yes.
Mr. Gishard.
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor King.
I think it's important to listen to the members that volunteer their time, and thank you for bringing it to our attention, Mr. Gishard, and I vote yes. 4, public hearing, adoption of ordinances. Sorry, forgive me.
No
Number
problem.
5, introduction of ordinance, public hearing to be held December 20th, 2021. Ordinance 1976-2021, an ordinance amend 1954-2021 entitled an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, providing annual salary increase and increases in salary maximums for certain employees. This goes hand in hand with what we discussed earlier. Any questions or comments, committee? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion. I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek.
Yes.
Mr. Gishard.
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor King.
Yes.
All yes and introduced.
All right, we'll move on to 6, award of bids, contracts, and change orders. A, resolution authorizing the award for engineering services, inspections, and project administration to Engineering Design Associates for the 2021 road program, bid number 2021-08, Gravelly Run Cul-de-sac, not to exceed $1,750.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek.
Yes.
Mr. Gishard.
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes, that is extra compared to what we had discussed before. What was it, 30,000 plus that?
Yeah, this is the engineer's fee for that design.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor King.
I'm going to abstain on this as I live on that street.
4 yes, 1 abstention, motion carries.
B, resolution authorizing the award for janitorial services, bid 2021-11 to ACB Services, Inc., Cream Ridge, New Jersey, in the amount not to exceed $38,390, February 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, and alternate number 1 biohazard cleaning at $39 per hour. Award is contingent upon successful background checks. Committee?
Motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Rita, roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek.
Yes.
Mr. Gishard.
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yes.
Mayor King.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right, we will move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, could you remove L and M, please?
L and M.
To be voted on separately.
Sure. I would also like to remove F for discussion and comments.
Well, cool.
So I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda. Are there any other additions or deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda A through E, G and H, J, K, and N, correct?
Right.
So moved.
No, hold on.
He said L and M.
L&M.
Yes.
I take out K.
Okay, so I'll amend that to J and then N. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
I have a motion. Second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, so let's start with F. I just wanted to make a comment regarding this. I want to thank Aaron for coming aboard and Peter's work on this. And I do want to thank our previous mayor, Art Shanker, who did have a vision for economic development and redevelopment, rehabilitation. And we finally have an agreement being signed with the mill complex. So that means we're moving forward, and we're moving forward in the right direction. So I'm really excited about that. And I just wanted to mention the efforts put forth in this. So hopefully we'll work very closely with them in the very near future here and bring a quality product to that site. So with that, if there's
did not the fellow that we hired from Collins would play a vital role in this as well?
yes, that is Mally's office.
Now,
Jim Malley and their office they're a redevelopment attorney, and they will work closely with Aaron and the named redeveloper and get this project moving.
this has been a project that we have long been waiting for. The disgraceful condition of the Mill Street Wheatons has been an eyesore in our community, and I am just so grateful for Mr. Malley and our president Aaron, who have worked on getting these people to the table. I think it's now their time, because when that fire happened in 2007, they weren't going to do a thing. They were just doing the minimal stuff that they had to do to maintain that property and pay their taxes. But since they were paying their taxes, we could not really demand maybe tearing it down or whatever. But now I think the time is current. I think that they're going to make all residential apartments, is it, or whatever, and that it will be overlooking the Lake Lenape. And I hope that we continue to have our lighthouse for them to view as well.
Could you mention some of the salient features of that agreement?
I'm sorry, Rodney.
Could you mention some of the salient features of that agreement?
Well, I mean, they're simply going to enter into, they're naming a party to be the redevelopment entity to enter into talks with us and the redevelopment attorney in order to get a project underway there.
Okay.
Now,
Is that correct, Aaron? Yes.
have they put monies up for that whole
Escrow
scenario?
has, have we received the escrow?
Yes.
We have. Okay, so yes, we have received the escrow, and
And what is that escrow? Can we
I
divulge that?
believe 40,000.
Yes.
40,000.
Yeah, attached
So-
to the resolution, there is the MOU is what will be signed, which spells those things out. And within 180 days of the execution of this period, they need to pursue all of their prior approvals, do the due diligence.
This is just wonderful.
It is. It's been a long time coming, and I hope we'll see some successful completion of a project there. So
Mr. Mayor, if I could react, part of the planning board, I'm sure you remember this was probably the first project that we deemed redevelopment.
I agree.
Yeah.
Needed
And
redevelopment. That had to be a dozen years ago.
yeah, and we voted on that as well. So to 2019, the redevelopment of the whole community. So we're all taking part of this, and hopefully we will see it in its fruition. Thank you.
That's the end goal. So any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion.
I have a
Second.
motion.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we'll move on to
Okay. Resolution K is indemnification agreement between Lenape County and the Township. The Central Municipal Court is going into business on January 1 of 2022. Due to the supply chain crisis worldwide, a part for the HVAC system for the court, which was supposed to be delivered November 1, is not being delivered to sometime in December. So the alternate plan made by the governance committee for the municipal court, completing of 9 municipalities, was that Galloway Township, Hamilton Township, and Egg Harbor Township would host the court during the month of January. All employees as of January 1 will be county employees, and that's why we requested the hold harmless identification, so we're not responsible for their people while they're using our facility.
So are we required to provide any police presence or anything like that? They're going to handle
There is no
everything.
physical court taking place. They're only going to have Zoom sessions during that month. But we have to physically have probably 6 or 7 employees in our offices so they can process tickets and handle the Zoom sessions. There will be no clientele coming into our building for any sessions or whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay, so we're doing it by Zoom, you say?
Yes.
All the, we won't
Yeah.
need
Any
extra parking?
trials will wait until the new court opens. With a new court, they're expecting minimally 75% of all cases to be handled by Zoom and only 25% to be in person. Most of the ones in person would be the ones that may result in jail time, such as a second or third DWI offense, a sexual assault, battery assault, things like that. The municipal court may be handled, a domestic.
And they can't do this at their facility if it's just going to be Zoom?
And the HVAC system is not completed in what's going to be the new courtroom. And instead of relocating everybody temporarily to Unami Boulevard and create offices for them, when they were going through the process, the municipalities, they asked if whether or not they could leave the 3 offices and the 3 large municipalities available for the month of January until the system was up. So, they may be out of here by the 3rd week of January, but definitely no later than the end of January.
just for the committee's pleasure, I sat in on the meeting with the county and the other municipalities, and we were made aware, obviously, of the HVA system not being able to get operational because of the supply chain issue. And all the municipalities had agreed at that time, Egg Harbor Township and Galloway, to go ahead and allow the operation of court to continue until that happens, which they expect. At this point, I believe we still have a January date we're looking at, correct?
The January 1, the county takes over. Sometime before January is over, they hope to have everything in place and everybody relocated, files and everything. But we're doing it for the whole month of January just for that security blanket. So if they need to January 31st and not the 21st of January, don't have to come back and get you to sign it again.
Now, the present employees that we have here, will they be the ones who are doing all the Zoom and doing all the tickets and all that stuff?
All of our current employees have accepted positions with the county. I would assume that all but maybe one of them will be here, and one of them may have to go to either Galloway or Hamilton in the short term so that they can equally distribute. So far, they've only hired 15 employees. 6 came from our court.
Oh, good. Will we be compensated for that?
We're still discussing that matter. One of the things I'm trying to avoid is I don't want to have a circuitous route where they agree to pay us and they're going to back charge us for the operation of the court. So we're still having those conversations as to what that value is and how, if the county's paying for it or the court operation going to pay for it.
Okay.
It's really not cost us any more money in HVAC, lighting, or any utilities for people to be in that space during normal working hours.
And they will be paid by the county, not by us.
Yes. And they're covered by county workers' compensation, county general liability, all that kicks in on January 1, 2022.
It's coming, 2022.
Yeah, it's not that far away anymore.
Committee, any more questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ayes have it. Now we'll move on to L. Mr. Salmon?
L and M is just a technical difference.
Okay.
The approving resolution is correct, but the block is 1132.01.
So you heard Mr. Sandman's comments. The context of it stays the same. It's just the .01 was not added in the block on the actual listed on the agenda.
And you can take L and M together.
All right. If there are no additional questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion for L and M of the consent agenda.
Move L and M.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we'll move on to, did we take N committee? We
Yes, you did.
Correct? Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Okay.
just now.
We'll move on to 8, personnel. This is A, is a resolution to compensate Chief Sam Brown for the position of Emergency Management Coordinator at a rate of $3,603.73.
Couldn't we beat him up to 3,500?
At least knock it down to 3,600 even.
I know he enjoys doing this, so I thought maybe.
The 73 cents means a lot, though.
Yeah.
If there are no questions, comments, I'll entertain motion.
I'll motion.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Rita, could I get a roll call on this one, please?
Yes. Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right, we'll move on to 9, approvals. A, minutes from the regular meeting minutes of November 15th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. B, minutes, executive session meeting minutes of November 15th, 2021.
Move.
Motion.
Second.
I have a second. Rita, could I get a roll call on this one, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Lastly, we'll have C, bills. Bill list total $902,526.46.
Wow. It's cheap.
Boy, you should be jumping at this one, committee.
Yeah, it's cheap.
That's up to Carl. That's
Yeah.
a low one.
I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
move it.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
All right. Mr. Administrator.
Mayor, I have nothing to report this evening.
All right. Salmon?
Yes, briefly, I just want to report that the Industrial Commission has a closing coming up on December the 15th on one parcel of land, and we executed 2 additional contracts for 2 additional parcels, and that will abide certain approvals. So things are happening in this,
So one will close before the end of the year, and the other 2 are going to be scheduled right after the first of the year?
depending on permitting.
Permanent. Yes, I said it early in the at the time of private reflection. I cannot say enough good things about the work that Glen Cove and the Phi family has put in, particularly George and the Phi family, but has put into seeing the renaissance that we're seeing in that industrial park right now. I think their marketing capabilities and their ability, they went out, they showcased this town, and it's showing right now because we have a lot of interest in there and we're fielding interest on a daily basis. So it's nice to see activity breeds activity. And one thing George did was bring us activity.
And Glen Cove has committed to moving forward in the future and at the same level through their existing personnel. They sent us a letter. And as an attorney, dealing with George has been my pleasure. It's made my life easier. One of the pleasures I have of being your solicitor is I am by law the solicitor to the Industrial Commission. And I, for one, am going to miss him.
Listen, he didn't make it easy on me. He held me to task on every single decision. But that was the respect that, I had for him. And I listened to his advice and we lost a good one and it's a sin, but
That's all I have.
Thank you.
What projects are going to be there?
Well, I don't think,
Can we reveal
the only
those?
one we could talk about, I think, would be the signed agreement that we have, correct? That would be public knowledge at this point.
No,
No, okay.
we can't discuss it yet.
Yeah, that's, so
Oh,
once,
okay.
once they are a matter
We're
for
in
public
it.
knowledge, we'll bring them up.
Okay, good.
10-day period for your review.
Great. I did see you sent me an email this afternoon. I did not get to that. I appreciate that, Bob. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Philippone.
Mayor and committee, I have 5 items. The first is an update on Lake Lenape Dam. I just want to report to the committee. We had our monthly dam committee meeting on November 22nd, 2 weeks ago. And WSP was on the call. That's the dam engineer. And we received the first of 2 permits for the powerhouse. The first permit is the DEP permit. Second permit we're waiting on is the Pinelands public development permit.
You said permit.
Permit.
Wow.
So I know Deputy Mayor Patali contacted Jeff Van Drew's office because the follow-up on that is that Pinelands very quickly completed their review of WSP's submission. And I was told on Friday that the Pinelands approval is on the agenda for the staff report will be read aloud in January. And the commissioners will vote in February. And with that, the staff has made a positive finding. So what that means to us is that in the month of February, we will have both permits in hand and the county will put that project out to bid for the powerhouse. And because of the restrictions that time of year, the county's telling me that the project will be a summer and fall project. It won't involve lowering any levels of the lake, but the powerhouse project will go out to bid this spring for construction in the summer and fall.
Fantastic.
The second part of this is the dam itself, the spillway. WSP will be at a 90% design completion February 1st. They will come to our town for a public information session sometime in the month of February. That's when we're really going to see the details of the spillway design. It was brought up, I think Carl might have asked the question, are we getting our lights and are we getting our flagpole? The answer is yes. So I think we'll see details of that spillway at a public information center session in the month of February.
Yeah, and it won't be here. It'll be a separate meeting.
Possibly at the library
Probably
on
at
the
the
second
library.
floor.
Steve, I'd just like to thank you and Carl for keeping us on track and getting us to this point to where we're hearing the word permits being put out there. So thank you.
You know what I think what is instrumental, what Carl was holding everyone in the county and us to task in how do we keep this project moving? And I think the idea of having a monthly meeting, it forces everybody to report something each month. So that
And
has kept.
Amy had a lot to do with that too.
Amy had a
Gotta
lot to
give
do with
Amy
that
Gatto some kudos for that.
The second item I have to report is the New York Avenue Bridge. Brett and I took a ride out there last Tuesday. They're removing some of the construction equipment. We were able to walk across the bridge. Following up on that, I contacted the county. They will be paving that bridge this Friday, December 10th. Next week, they will be installing guide rails, line striping, topsoil. They're telling me the end of next week, which would be Friday, February 17th is the Friday,
December.
December 17th. I'm sorry. December 17th is the new target date before Christmas. So that's the latest.
Let's pray this snowstorm they're talking about for Thursday does not materialize.
Yeah, we don't need that. And when you go out there, if you go out there, you'll see that the overhead wires are not connected across the bridge. So I asked the county if that will hold things up, and they say no. That's the loop of the electric system. So we have power on both sides. The county said that the electric company we'll make that connection across the bridge and do some single lane closures sometime in the near future. But it will not hold up the opening of that bridge. The third thing I want to report on is the road program. Harley, Grand, and South are substantially complete. There's just some shoulder restoration. The gravelly run court curbing was installed last Friday. I contacted Arawak Paving. They've placed it on the schedule for next week to mill and pave that court. We just need to have good weather. It's important that we have good dry weather before the asphalt plants close. 3rd Street, we dropped off the contracts, performance bonds, and insurance information today to the clerk's office. So with the next few days through that review, we hope to ask the mayor to sign the contracts, which is the last phase before we can have a pre-construction meeting and get started with 3rd Street. Last time I have to report is we submitted a grant application for Atlantic Avenue under the local freight grant program. And this is the third and final phase of Atlantic Avenue. We paved the middle section of Atlantic Avenue this summer. We have a grant for the next section, which is from the post office to Summers Point Mays Landing Road. That'll be a spring project. So this is the last phase of Atlantic Avenue, which is from the jail to Babcock Road. And that was a $301,000 grant application that was filed last week.
Fingers crossed.
And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We had ACIT in front of us at the planning board the other night. As you know, you were there, and Sidewalk Jack made sure the request was made to install sidewalks with their expansion project there. So hopefully they'll take that advice and we'll have a new roadway and some sidewalks.
I thought I heard him say yes to that, but
I'm going to wait to see it in the final, but thank you, Jack, for bringing it up, and it's going to work out really well with that new project going out there. So thank you, Steve.
Hey, Steve, 3rd Street, are we good with the school, with what they're doing with their driveway?
We are good. I've been in communication with them. What my desires are, if the weather stays above freezing, I would like to try to get most of that concrete work, all the sidewalk work done during the period of time the school is not open. But I'm in communication with their architect on the work at the school there.
So you don't think the asphalt will be coming before January or whatever?
No, we will not see asphalt on 3rd Street until
the spring.
And I don't even want to do it in the early spring. The best, you don't get the highest quality asphalt when the plants first opened up. We're going to insist to wait until it's a little warmer weather, and we're not going to leave the street in
disarray
condition. It'll be as it is now.
Yeah. Okay. I had another question here. You said the spillway, the details of the spillway. Now, the spillway is just where the dam, where it falls over, the water falls over whatever the dam or the spillway. But how about the dam around the spillway? Is that going to be altered?
Well, let's call the area on either side, and I don't do dam designs, but let's call that like sort of the head walls. That stays in place.
Okay.
Dam structure will not be a straight across, typical dam that was, typically designed over the last 50 years. It'll be what they call labyrinth, which is sort of like a sawtooth back and forth.
Oh.
It'll be innovative, state of the art. It's the new type of dam designs. And what that does is it sort of balances it. It keeps the levels of the lake constant.
Yeah.
That's what it'll do. You won't have this constant rise and fall levels in the lake with that design. And the unveiling of that will be at that information center.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. That, I mean, a lot of the residents along the lake get a little annoyed with it going up and down, and you're saying that this labyrinth design will help prevent that.
It'll stabilize the level of the lake.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
Does that mean it doesn't have to be adjusted manually in the future?
I think Brett will be happy about that. I mean, he goes out there on Sundays and holidays and midnight.
So he won't have to do that now.
He won't have to do that.
I think there's still, you have, the powerhouse is going to have gates at it. So I think if there's ever a huge rain event or hurricane coming, I'm sure we could probably lower it a little bit.
So like a manual override.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of getting power out of that
No.
dam? I know it.
That was looked at by Stockton. I believe it was Stockton or it may have been Rowan, and they came and they analyzed it, and they just their feelings were the cost of benefit just was not there. It would cost so much money, you would never get your money back. There's not enough water pressure there to really get a decent sized generator in there, just get it spinning and generating electricity.
Yeah, at one time it did operate
Initially.
Sure.
a mill, a cotton mill. Okay.
All right, we'll move on to Township Committee. Carl?
Very successful, very nice tree lighting ceremony. Very well attended. As usual, Public Works does a great job down there at the park. Love driving through there and seeing those lights at Christmas time. It's really nice. So kudos to them. They always do a great job. I got to dig into the holiday this past Saturday a little late, and when I got there, I saw a lot of mostly empty tables. So that looked like it went very well. Great weather, lots of people there. So very nice to see that. It's just more things going on downtown that bring people downtown. It's really, really nice. Other than that, I just want to kind of say what the mayor said about losing George Fye. As everybody knows, I'm sure everybody knows, he was one of my best friends. And it's a big loss for this town. And it might not be anything that you see, but I'm telling you, there's going to be a big hole left and big shoes to fill to follow behind that man. So, Greg and Maddie, miss you, love you.
Thank you, Carl. Judy?
Yes, the death of George Fye was just an unbelievable shock to everyone who knew him from the time he worked at Lenape Park when he was a youth. For many years, he was part of the Lenape Park family. And then, of course, he joined with the Morrises to be a fantastic realtor and just a fabulous person. And we will miss him. It just was an unbelievable shock. And, I hope the best for Michelle and the family and all the Morrises. They're just great people. So, and they have always contributed to our community in a big, big way. So my sympathy goes out to them. I wanted to say we were pleasantly surprised with Santa coming down Park Road. And a lot of the people who were coming into our facility said, "Oh, I saw Santa." It was such a great thing. And of course, they had it at the dickens of a holiday, but that was a fun thing for us. And they do visit each one of the little kids in the area. So that was a great thing. We're still waiting to have our Santa come, but no, he will be there. So I think that's it.
That's it. Thank you, Judy. Mr. Gishard.
Yes, I'd like to follow up on a previous comment regarding the lighting in the park. We came back on Thanksgiving weekend and saw the lights there, and what a pleasant way to enter the city. I must say the Public Works always does a great job with that, but not only putting out the lights, it's the artistry involved in the design of the lighting. Very good, very well done. Something the township is proud of. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. I actually texted those same comments to our public works director because I said whoever did them this year, those individuals ought to be complimented. They did a really nice job. Good evening, Chief.
I echo the thoughts of Rodney. My wife and I were at a red light right there last night, and you looked at them, and the lights are unbelievably uniformed. Everything. It looks outstanding to be stuck in a light there, just looking at those lights. Also, with George Fye, I was a personal friend of him and his father, and as Carl said, they're behind the scenes. They're big shoes to fill there, and that's going to be a rough one. And we can only wish best for the Fye and the Morris family, that, especially the girls, that they move on. And last, Woods Landing, after 15 or 16 years, has started paving their road with the final pavement.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Commitment kept.
Yes. And that's it for me.
All right, thank you. I think I made my comments earlier. I don't believe I have anything value added at this point. So with that, I'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak at this time? Mr. Rogers?
Well, Harry Rogers, 1069 Morningside Drive. A couple months back, I came to the microphone and asked a question about the cybersecurity practices that were in place for the township to guard us against being held ransom, as happened to so many other towns. I really was not given a satisfactory answer. I was kind of blown off. I'd like to know what the township is doing and what's it cost. Thanks.
You got it. Mr. Rogers, as you know, we have a incoming committee woman that this is her area of expertise. We've already had discussions with her, and I believe that she will be bringing that expertise into the township in order to address your concerns. So she's due to be sworn in first meeting in January, so we'll get right on that. And I see her nodding her head. So I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Mayor, I could tell you that the incoming committee woman already has sent me a proposal for a company to come and do it for free at no cost to us.
There you go. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may.
Sure, Chief.
I did have Lieutenant Alcott, who is overseeing the department. I'm sorry. I had Lieutenant Alcott draft me a quick memo of what we are doing in reference to the ransomware attacks. Obviously, I can give you a general overview of what we're doing, but to give specific details, we kind of go against the whole fabric of the security measures that we're doing. So we are utilizing firewall protection, antivirus, malware protection, and email protection. All mobile devices in the township are managed utilizing a mobile device management software that provides for remote management. Remote sites are connected to the township building utilizing secure virtual private networks. Operating systems are up to date. Our network is backed up. All hardware is locked down. We are audited by the New Jersey State Police IT unit annually through a questionnaire and on-site physical inspections periodically. We recently completed end user training sponsored through JIP. And physical security includes cameras, alarms, and notification systems. To go any further than that, I would think would jeopardize the security.
I appreciate that. Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Mr. Kerrigan.
What caused George's death?
I'm
COVID.
sorry, Jim?
I'm
Heart attack?
I'm not answering that.
Yeah, Jim, is there any other questions you might have, Jim?
Yeah.
Comments?
I do have an announcement. In the spring, March, I'll be running for county committee.
Oh, good for you, Jim. Well, we wish you all the best in that venture.
I can run for vice president, but not president,
Gotcha.
because I lack leadership skills, you know.
Thank you, Jim.
I can still run for vice president of the Republican Club.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Jim?
Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss township administrator position / personnel. Do we have any reason to come back out into public?
I don't
Not at this time.
anticipate you taking any action
Yeah, if you can
after the
take
close.
a vote, we can come out.
We'll reserve the right to reconvene in public if necessary.
Yeah.
But we're still going to reconvene in public, but we'll reserve the right for action if necessary. Okay. All right, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton that this meeting be adjourned to an executive session to discuss the following matters which are exempt from public discussion pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law. Township Administrator position personnel. Be it further resolved that the governing body may reconvene in public session to confirm the results of the executive session. Be it further resolved, the results of this executive session will be made known as soon as the basis for confidentiality is no longer confidential.